Okay, let's get right into this. On the surface, what we're looking at seems like a pretty standard military purchase. But, when you dig a little deeper, you realize it's one of the most high-stakes economic battles in modern Canadian history. This isn't really about submarines at all. It's about a nation fighting for its very future.
First things first, you have to look at the price tag. The project to replace Canada's aging submarine fleet, well, it could cost up to $100 billion over its lifetime. We're talking about the single largest defense acquisition in the country's entire history. And a number that big, it immediately makes you ask,
Is this all really just to buy 12 new submarines? Seriously, when a price tag gets that high, you've got to wonder if there's something else going on behind the scenes. And you know what? In this case, there absolutely is.
The answer is a hard no, not even close. Canada is using this massive contract as a tool to do something much, much bigger, to completely restructure its economic framework. See, this isn't just a military purchase. It's basically a purchase of economic independence.
So this brings us to the main event, a really fierce bidding war between two global heavyweights, South Korea and Germany. And here's the thing, they're not just selling military hardware. Oh no, they're selling two totally competing visions for Canada's economic future. So this slide really lays out two completely different philosophies. On one side, you've got Team Korea and Hanwha Ocean. They're offering a submarine that's already proven, already in service, and pairing it with a very direct, targeted investment right into Canada's industrial heartland. Then you have Team Germany's TKMS. They're offering a brand new submarine design, and they're partnering it with this massive, broad-based economic package. The crucial thing to understand is this. Canada isn't just picking a sub, it's picking a strategic economic partner for the next few decades. All right, let's take a closer look at the Korean strategy here. Hanwha Ocean is making a very specific, very calculated move. They've basically identified a cornerstone of Canadian industry that's been struggling, steel production, and they've offered a direct lifeline. And the centerpiece of their whole bid is a $345 million commitment to Algoma Steel. This is a major producer in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and it's been hit really hard by layoffs. Now, this isn't some vague promise down the road. It's a signed, binding agreement. This is their Anchor in Canada plan in action. The money is specifically for a new steel mill and for direct purchases of Canadian steel for the submarines themselves. This one deal could rehire up to 500 workers. That directly revitalizes a community and a really critical domestic supply chain. It's just a powerful, tangible offer. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to the impact in the words of Algoma's own CEO. He calls it a foundational step. Not just for his company, mind you, but for the whole country's nation-building priorities. This isn't being sold as some little side deal. It's being framed as a core part of Canada's future industrial strength. So how does Germany respond to that? Well, TKMS is fighting back. Not with a single targeted investment, but with a massive, wide-ranging Team Canada alliance. Their pitch is basically, we won't just save one factory, we'll help you build an entire 21st century economic. And their multi-billion-dollar package is, well, it's incredibly ambitious. We're talking about building battery gigafactories, investing in mining for the critical minerals we all need for modern tech, and forging partnerships in AI. They've also teamed up with major Canadian players like Seaspan Shipyards to make sure the submarines can be maintained entirely inside Canada. It's a beyond submarines kind of vision. But believe it or not, this story gets even bigger. See, the economic benefits from this whole submarine deal, they're meant to fuel an even grander, more audacious nation-building project. So now, let's head to Canada's north and talk about the Arctic Hail Mary.
The goal here is something called the Port of Churchill Plus project. The whole idea is to take Canada's only deep-water Arctic seaport that has a rail link and turn it into a year-round hub for both commercial and military use. This would give Canada a strategic gateway to the north, connecting its resources to global markets right through the Hudson Bay.
But the challenges here are just immense. First, the port is frozen solid for about 8 months of the year. That means you need expensive, heavy-duty icebreakers just to get in and out. Second, it's a critical habitat for a population of 55,000 beluga whales, which makes any kind of industrial expansion an environmental minefield. And third, the cost is staggering. Ottawa is proposing a $1 billion fund just to get the basic infrastructure built. So why on earth would they do it? Well, this quote from Professor Trevor Heaver really gets to the heart of it. The project isn't just about economic returns. It's a strategic necessity. Suddenly, the cost of the icebreakers gets reframed as the price of asserting Canadian sovereignty in a very contested Arctic. The commercial activity? That's almost just a bonus.
And now we get to the final layer of the onion, the ultimate driver behind this colossal defense deal and this super ambitious Arctic project. What geopolitical storm is Canada actually preparing for? Well, the answer lies just south of the border.
The potential return of a protectionist U.S. administration just looms over everything. A former Canadian ambassador put it very bluntly, warning that damaging tariffs could be imposed almost immediately. This isn't some theoretical threat. It is a clear and present danger to the Canadian economy, which, as we all know, has been deeply dependent on its trade relationship with the U.S.
This existential threat has basically given rise to a new national strategy, economic insulation. It's a plan that was born from necessity, and it's designed to build an economy that can withstand shocks from its largest trading partner. How? By strengthening domestic manufacturing and opening up new trade routes, exactly like the one through the Port of Churchill.
And this is where it all just clicks into place. The submarine deal, with its billions in mandated Canadian investment, is the engine for this entire strategy. Doesn't matter if it's building steel mills with the Koreans or battery factories with the Germans, the contract is being used to forge a more resilient, self-reliant Canadian economy, one that is not at the mercy of its neighbor.
So when you put all of these pieces together, what you're seeing isn't just a military modernization. It's something way more profound. It's really Canada's attempt at an economic declaration of independence.
Let's just recap the layers we've peeled back, right? It starts as a simple military purchase, but underneath that, it's an industrial strategy to boost manufacturing at home. And under that, it's a sovereignty play to control the Arctic. And then, at its very core, it is a geopolitical shield designed to protect Canada from economic coercion.
So the main point here, the big takeaway, is this. Canada is using the leverage of a single, massive defense contract to fundamentally change its place in the world. The goal is to transform itself from being just a reliable ally that's dependent on others into a resilient and more self-sufficient middle power that can actually control its own destiny.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating final question. In the 21st century, where trade and supply chains are the new battlegrounds, could it be that a silent, deep-diving submarine has become the ultimate tool, not of military conflict, but of economic warfare?